Okay, so it has nothing to do with me driving a car at all.
Absolutely nothing, because over the course of the last 2 million years, there have been 17 ice ages, which means that on 17 different occasions, the Earth cooled so much that giant sheets of ice formed, giant glaciers that stretched from the North Pole, in some cases as far south as Kentucky. And on 17 different occasions, those giant ice masses melted. And they melted not because of your SUV or your whatever kind of car that you're driving. That's just the natural ebb and flow of climate. Things warm up, things cool down. That's the way nature works.
Okay. Now,
quick question, Doctor. The coal that was taken offline in the United States and put into a national park system by Bill Clinton, what is it, the low sulfur?
Yeah, low sulfur coal. Yeah. When he created a giant national monument
Yes.
in Utah. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Now, what was the consequence of that? Because Indonesia has the only other large supply of that
That's
particular type of coal. And they would they get a bonus? Did they see a bumper crop of using their coal in the system?
Yes, they did, because when we took our coal offline,
Yes.
Cui bono, who benefits? Well, Indonesia did, and they were able to exploit their low sulfur coal and sell it. That's a market that we could have had, but Clinton took it offline, and Obama is doing the same thing now in the name of combating climate change by having his Environmental Protection Agency, EPA, issue a whole bunch of rules that will make it virtually impossible to have coal-powered plants in the United States produce affordable energy. Well, look at it this way. Who is that going to hurt the most? The people at the lower end of the income spectrum.
Yes.
Because these are the people who, and it gets very cold in the winter in Detroit.
Oh, yes, it does.
And it gets hot in the summer. Yeah, we use electricity to heat our homes in the winter, to cool it in the summer, to cook our food, and do all the other things we do with electricity. Why would the federal government take steps that it knows are going to make the price of electricity higher? And that's exactly what this is doing.
Now, is it that they want to turn around and subsidize that, and now they have more people that are dependent on government?
Yeah, that's certainly one of it, because one of the things they're going to do is they say, okay, electricity, the price of electricity has risen because of policies that we have adopted. Therefore, we will increase the subsidies to people at the lower income level, which of course makes them increasingly dependent on government and presumably makes them more reliable voters. And so you create and grow the class of dependency. But what you're also doing is you're making it more difficult for businesses to open up, for manufacturing plants to open up, simply because all of this is dependent upon a reliable and affordable source of electricity. And while they're attacking coal on the one hand, the government is favoring things like wind and solar on the other, subsidizing them from now until kingdom come.
Yeah.
And so wind and solar are unaffordable, they're unreliable. Solar power creates zero electricity at night because there is no sun.
That's right.
And wind power creates no electricity when the wind doesn't blow.
When the wind don't blow. That's a good one. Here, if you don't mind, I want to give our audience the phone number, and we're going to go to a call. Again, if you'd like to talk to Dr. Bonner Corn with us this morning, give us a call at 734-822-1600. Again, 734-822-1600. He authored a book called Green Wave, the environmentalism and its consequences. And Dr. Corn, we're going to go to one of the co-hosts of this radio show here. She's not here today, Mayor Daniels. Go to Mayor Daniels for me, Derek, please.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning, Mayor.
Dr. Cohn, this book that you've written, The Green Wave, Environmentalism and Its consequences begins with a really good quote, and that is, when the search for truth is confused with political advocacy, the pursuit of knowledge is reduced to the quest for power. And I think that kind of sums it all up in terms of what is going on with the United Nations, this one world government. They need to reduce the United States of America to third world status because poor people are easier to control.
Yeah, I think you put your finger right on it, and that's exactly what the quote I had in the book is getting at. People will tell you they're doing things to protect you. Obama would have you believe that his latest EPA policy to protect waterways in the United States is going to help us. As a matter of fact, it's just going to give the government an opportunity to tell you what you can and cannot do with your own property. On a global level, this is how the power elite works. It is certainly embodied in the current administration, but you can see this all across various UN agencies and various international agencies. They need a reason to keep themselves in quote-unquote business. And so they will constantly conjure up all sorts of threats, such as climate change. And for the most part, they never even bother to tell you in what ways the climate is changing. They just throw out the phrase climate change. Well, this policy or that policy or this grant to a favored environmental group will help save people from the consequences of climate change. This is how they justify their existence. And so to ordinary people, think of all the problems that you have in Detroit. Okay, you've had declining population for decades and decades.
Yes.
And you've had rising crime rates, you have rising rates of illegitimacy, you have all these problems. And do you really think that quote-unquote climate change is the thing that you need to be focusing on? No. But this is something that keeps the power elite in power. This is something that enables people to line their own pockets. Think of all the people in the wind and solar industry who, believe me, are doing quite well.
Yes.
But they're not doing quite well because they're providing the American people with affordable and reliable sources of energy. No, they're pocketing the subsidies that come out of the paychecks of everybody listening to this broadcast.
In addition, it's putting, we've seen a number of factories, manufacturing factories. Phil been talking about this for years, Dr. Coynes, that the number of manufacturers has shrunk. And then they turn around, they still in business, but they go overseas because of all these regulations.
Yeah, if you all the complaints, well, we're outsourcing this and we're outsourcing that. Well, sometimes companies really have no choice but to outsource if they find it impossible to manufacture something here. And if you have policies adopted in Washington, D.C., where I am, that impose ridiculous cost on manufacturers, those manufacturers are going to crunch the numbers, and they're going to say, you know what, I can build my factory, I can move my factory from Michigan to Taiwan, because in Taiwan, I don't have to deal with the red tape that I have to deal with here in the United States. So this is something that we have been seeing going on for decades and decades, and the big losers in this are, the vast middle class and the people at the lower end of the income scale who would like to improve their lot, not by becoming dependent on government, because we have all seen where that leads, but rather freeing themselves from the shackles of government dependency, becoming productive citizens, raising families, and doing all the things that we all aspire, most of us anyway, aspire to do. But it's actually the federal government in cahoots with environmentalists who are standing in the way.
Yes. All right. Dr. Cohen, I am so sorry, but we're going to have to end it here, but we're going to have you back. Just give our audience your website. We're going to have you back here again. You're going to never, ever be no stranger to the Abolitionists Roundtable. We're just running out of time. Give our audience your information, and we're going to talk to you again soon.
Okay.
Because we need to continue this conversation.
Our website is nationalcenter.org. nationalcenter.org.
All right. Thank you very much for getting up with us this morning, and we'll talk to you again Folks, we're getting to the end of the show. Thank you, Mayor, for getting up with us also. We're getting close to the end of the show, and I just want to say again, Doctor, I'm sorry that we got him in, but next month we're going to start promoting National Heterosexual Month, and we're going to thank God for his design of family.
What a great, great interview. And boy, I can't wait till we have Dr. Cohen back on.
All right. Thank you very much. And we'll see you again soon. Go to our website, artofmichigan.com. Whatever you can do to support us, it'll always help. Talk to you soon.
The Abolitionist Roundtable invites the Wham! Talk 1600 listeners to continue the roundtable discussions by mailing correspondence to Art of Michigan, Post Office Box 135, Garden City, Michigan 48135.
Or follow Phil and Del at artofmichigan.com. You can also send emails to artofmichigan@hotmail.com. And most of all, continue to listen every Saturday and tell a friend.